My first question is, I think one of the interesting things that I learned about Jackie through this picture is that how much he didn't really want to be a hero at the beginning. He just wanted to play baseball.
Right.
But he took on that responsibility after learning like how much it meant to other people. How much did you learn about the character that you didn't already know before going into this movie?
Well, the thing that struck me the most, the two things in this statement is that baseball wasn't his best sport. You know, he was a better football player, he was a better baseball player, a better basketball player, better track and field. He even played tennis. And so he had greatness in him anyway. It just wasn't a place to put it in these United States. And what he was able to do once he was given this opportunity is actualize that greatness. He was actually going to quit baseball when he played in the Negro Leagues. It was such a hard way of living.
Right.
Going on and off buses, playing 4 games a day. You couldn't stop for food. You couldn't shower. And so it was a hard life, and they weren't getting paid enough to go through all of that. And so he had at times expressed to Rachel Robinson that he was going to quit. And so if this had not happened, he would have been, he would have been a janitor. He always talked about his brother had won the silver medal in the Olympics and came home and became a janitor. So it's surprising to me that, he had that greatness in him and it was nowhere to put it.
I mean, there's a lot of rough language in the movie, to be frank. And you as an actor from the South, even portraying the role of Jackie Robinson, how hard was it to have other characters saying, "Hey, you nigger," "Hey, you porch monkey," all this stuff as an actor?
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to a certain degree, and it's difficult. At first, you're bridging the gap between the past and the present, because we use these words colloquially.
Yeah.
We use them amongst each other in ways that we don't necessarily use them around other people.
Right.
And so it's different when the context is you're being berated or you're being attacked with these words in a stadium, and the intent is to hurt you. And not only that, it's being expounded upon, the stereotypes and the ideas are being expounded upon the way they are in that scene.
Yeah.
And so it gets to a point where it starts to have its old meaning, its original meaning, and it gets to you. And you need to, at the end of that scene, step away from everybody and get back to a place where you can deal with people.
Well, it took a lot of courage for this role, man. I appreciate it, man. Great movie. Wish you best of luck in your plays, movies, whatever you got coming
All right.
out, brother.
Thank you, man.
I had baseball coaches. It was intense. It wasn't like, essentially my baseball coaches didn't know how to shoot a movie. They weren't worried about shooting the movie. They treated it as if I was going to play a game. So it was real practice.
Well, you said you played baseball growing up a little bit.
Little league.
So how important is it for little kids right now to be watching this movie?
Oh, I mean, that's the reason why the movie was made. Because, there are little kids who don't know who Jackie Robinson is. Ken Griffey Jr. was doing an event with Thomas Toll, and some kids didn't know who he was, and then Ken Griffey turns to him and says, "We have to do something about this." So this movie was made for them.
It's just fun. Like, you're playing James Brown, you almost feel superhuman. I don't want to talk about it too much. I haven't actually seen the movie yet, so I want to wait till I actually see the movie and I have more to say about it. But the experience was phenomenal.
We'll all be excited about that. Last question: is there any truth to the Black Panther rules?
I don't know anything. There's a rumor, yeah.
We'll take it from there. Thank you, brother.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that. Thank you. So first of all, what's it like to be the noobs in the Avengers? Like, y'all are fresh in the whole thing. Like, what is it like to come in Phase 3, holding it down, massive battle? What is that like?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's cool to have seen the other movies and to come in and be a part of it, to know that mythology or to know the backstories of other characters coming into it, and just the people that you're working with is fun. I mean, it's like an actor's dream to do something you enjoy doing.
Right.
And get paid well.
That's what's up.
At the end of the day,
No,
it's and to know that it's leading to something else and it's connected to other things is fun.
No, and one of the coolest things that I've kind of nicknamed you like Mr. History, because you had Jackie Robinson and Jackie Brown, and you got Thurgood coming up.
James Brown.
I'm so
You said
sorry.
Jackie Brown. That's
What's wrong with you?
It's actually my favorite thing that people do.
Accidentally say that?
When they put Jackie Brown, they say Jackie Brown.
It's
It's one of my favorite movies.
it's a great movie, right? But there you go. I'm gonna get roasted for that later, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But either way, man, what's it like to, no disrespect at all to War Machine or to Falcon, but the fact that Black Panther stands on his own with Captain America, with Iron Man, because he's got the fortune, he's got the kingdom, he's got the skills. Like, what is that like to step into such a major, iconic, like, black superhero?
To be honest with you, I try not to think about all of that. I think it's key to deal with each part, knowing that it's part of that whole. But I try not to think of all of those things. I more so think about the fact that there are kids who are going to see it, black and white and Latin, Asian, that will see it and not think the same, in a similar way that there are kids that don't know what it's like to not have a black president.
Right.
Like, it's cool that it won't be a big deal to them. That's what's more intriguing in my mind. But thinking about because there also is Blade, by the way.
Well, that's true.
So,
That's true.
So
That's
let's
true.
not forget.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
Let's give Wesley Snipes
I gotta give him his
his
props.
props.
I totally understand it.
We're in position. At least recognize me.
And Paul, my question for you too: what is it like to step into a role of essentially a brand new life that is a full adult? So you're almost like having to discover life, but you're a man.
That's been the fun bit, is that he's just recently. I got born on camera. That's not going to happen again, I don't think. For me in my career, right? But you're born and you're sort of omnipotent, and yet you're learning everything at this incredible speed and trying to figure out what your place is and where what is the limit of your powers and what you should use them for, and what is good and what is evil, and what is love, frankly, I think. Because I think loyalty, without love, there's no loyalty. There's just, with logic, new information can come to light and he can flip sides, but with love, you don't. So I think he's sort of, it's been really fun. That's actually been, it's well spotted, because that's been the bit that has been really genuinely intriguing.
Right. Well, hey, gentlemen, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Great movie. Everybody go see it. It's awesome. See it like 5-6 times, because I will.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, see it 5-6.
Of course. Thank
How you doing, Jaleesa?
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
See you here.
Thank you.
So you've played such trailblazing icons before. Would you say that when you portray James Brown, when you portray Jackie Robinson, that you fully committed to being those men both on and off screen?
Yeah. To a certain degree. Yeah.
So did you turn it off off screen or no?
You have to turn it off at some point because you got to go to sleep.
So then how does portraying Black Panther differ from that? Is there a such thing as fully becoming Black Panther?
Yeah. There's I think to answer your question, because it's an acting technique question more so than anything. You have to find what's healthy for you and what's healthy for the people around you. You have to know when you detox and when you don't, and when you talk to your family and when you don't. And so for James Brown, for instance, I knew that I couldn't talk to my team that I work with because I would fire everybody if I talked to them. I had to talk to them at ungodly hours when I was too tired to stay in that space anymore, and then answer questions the next time I talked to them after I had time to meditate on it. 42 was a different experience because it was a more quiet experience. He internalized the issues that he was dealing with as opposed to expressing them. So I could listen to people, and he wouldn't respond. This experience is more one where I was more able to deal with people. They just had to deal with listening to T'Challa. He's more diplomatic, and he's a person that considers family. So it was a great time to talk to everybody. It's a great time. They just had to listen to me in that accent.
Now, last question I want to know, because T'Challa, he doesn't really get a chance to mourn his father before he has to step up and be strong. And we see that sometimes with Black men in society. There's a disconnect between a moment to really be vulnerable.
Right.
You have to step up and be strong. How does that impact him, and how did that impact you?
Well, I'm not going to give the movie away, but what I love about T'Challa is that I played this character not based upon the superhero aspects of him, things blowing up and fights and all of that. That he has a very human experience, and so this movie is about him being vulnerable. Like he can't complete his arc without the vulnerability of the losses, without dealing with death. So in a sense, this entire movie is about that, still dealing with his father.
Chad, one question.
Yes,
I
that's
gotta
it.
take him because the movie's waiting for him to start.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Nikki.
What happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world.
You know how when they say go out there, make your mama proud. And stuff? How does it feel to know that you were part of something that making a whole culture proud, like a whole people? Like what's that weight on you?
Well, let's just go back to my mama. Like I enjoyed. We had the premiere a couple nights ago, and just having her in that room with all of those people and beautiful Black people too that came to the premiere. Royal. It was a royal experience. People came in their African garb, or they at least alluded to that, or they signified that, and it was a beautiful experience. Snoop Dogg, Janelle Monáe. Being able to introduce your mama to these people is an amazing experience. So that to me, I know everybody else is having that experience. Will have that experience on February 16th, and it will resonate. But I'm feeling it from a very intimate standpoint, and bringing my people here.
I know you do a deep dive on all your characters, but I wonder, we're African Americans. We grew up in the South. Like, how much did you learn about African culture that you didn't know from doing the background on this story?
An incredible amount.
You know, like you can know it from you know, just a book standpoint. You know, you read about it. But we actually, in some ways, had to create a rites of passage, a coronation in this movie, and to elevate the character to a different place. And I actually could feel that happening. And I could feel, this is beyond research. This is like actually experiencing this moment with a group of people, with the cast, but also the extras who were on set for Warrior Falls, who came for weeks. When it was a hard shoot, they showed up even though people got sick. Their parents would tell them, "You don't need to go back there anymore," because I would hear their stories. And they would tell me, "I'm coming back because I've never experienced anything like this." They've never had an African rites of passage in that way, some of them, and they were able to experience that. So not just for me, it trickled down to everybody on set. So that's something that is you know, you can't even put that into words.
Was the scariest thing for you as an actor, or not scary, but the most challenging thing, like the accent or the physicality of T'Challa? Was the accent, did it pose any real?
Well, I think the hard part about the accent is you want it to become so natural that you know, people forget that that's not what you sound like. And you literally talk like that more than you talk in your normal voice. Like even when you leave the set, you're still talking like that. Even when you call your loved ones, you still talk like that. So that is a difficult thing because it's a certain amount of concentration in order to do that is not normal. The physical stuff is always going to be hard. It's always going to be like getting up in the morning, like when you have like 5 a.m. calls. How do you get up and work out? You know, because you still have to work out every day even when you start shooting. So that grind is one is a mental grind, the other is a physical grind, and so you can't really compare them. But you have to do both of them, and you have to, even when you physically get tired, you still have, your mind has to be working. So I can't compare them. I just know I had to do it, and I had to push through it, as did, you know, a lot of the other people on this film. But as the lead, you got to do it every day.
Well, you slammed it, man. Great job, and as always, man, we just love seeing you keep on rising. So keep doing your thing, bro.
Thank you, man. How you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Okay, so of course, have you seen the Beachella performance where she honored and recognized the historically black colleges?
Yes.
So of course, I went to Spelman. You went to Howard.
Right.
Talk about the significance in HBCUs being seen on a wider platform for the masses.
It was amazing just to see our culture, you know, in that space. How she brought the Greek chorus, which also is our fraternities and our sororities, which have a whole host of other significances for our culture together. The marching band, which also dates back to like African culture, the way that they, you know, the way the band sort of tells a story when it's playing. And also just there's a lot of people who don't know the excellence that comes out of black schools.
From right here. We're right here.
Yeah, we're right here. We're right here. But a lot of people don't know that excellence and don't know how much it's actually affected American society. That even in the face of segregation, that we found something that we need to stick to. We found something that, a way that our students can be educated with each other, and you can appreciate different aspects of blackness at the same time. People from all over the world go to historically black schools, and they meet people from the continent of Africa, from the Caribbean, from Europe, from the States, and they're allowed to study together and learn their culture in a way that they wouldn't be able to do on a white campus.
And now we're expanding that, of course, with Black Panther and the role that you're playing and what you're doing. I want to ask a more personal question. I've been a little worried. You've been doing so much promo, so many films. When you get a break, what's the first thing you do?
When I get a break, or when I am going to get a break.
When is the break coming and what are you going to do?
The break is coming after Howard commencement. Okay. That's when the break comes and I'm going on vacation. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we'd love to have you as well.
Well, y'all didn't invite me. You didn't invite me. Howard beat you to it. Maybe another year.
We'll make it happen. Thank you so much,
thank
Chad.
you so much. Anytime.
What an exciting movie, man. You know, first, I mean, there's a lot of elements going on in this movie. Black men playing cops in this age is looked at kind of different. Like, what's the weight of being a police officer and being black, you know, and being judged? So can you first speak on, like, that character trying to play both sides of that?
It was something I had to think about it. You know, you think about you see it in movies and it's something that's sort of glossed over. But I think it's not what this movie is about. This movie is not about that. It does have its moments where the issue presents itself like all of a sudden for the audience, and we won't talk about that. But because we don't want to give stuff away. But for me, it's one of those things where, like, I have, you know, just personally, I have people that are in my life that are cops. I've trained with cops. You know, even before the movie, I've trained in the dojo with cops. They learn the same thing you learn. You know, I have friends that are part of the force. At the same time, I've dealt with cops in a way where, you know, they have not been fair. Yeah. You know, in college, there were people that were killed, and we protested, and so it's one of those things that I had to sort of I had to make peace with before I played the role, and while I played the role, and I think it helps because it becomes part of the character. It becomes like not necessarily what Andre is going through, but it's what Chad is going through to inform Andre. Yeah. Let me sit this right here. Wait, you know what? We can't do that. That's not stable. Can I give this to somebody? I can't. I'm not gonna hold it. All right. It's going great. I won. It's great. It's great. How's it feel?
Pretty good.
You know what? Honestly, I felt like a winner before I came. And I feel like I'm just representing the other people in that category and representing the movie, which was well received. And I just love the exchange that happened between us and the audience for Black Panther. So it's just great to just continue to promote that.
So Evan Jackson from Style and Society, what's the most profound feedback you've gotten from Black Panther? Maybe a little kid told you that, maybe a fellow actor where you're like, wow.
It's so much echo, I can't hear your question.
Oh, sorry. What's the most profound moment you had as far as feedback from Black Panther?
I think one of the most profound, it's so many different things, but there was science courses in Brooklyn that, you know, I've been informed that there are a lot of students that were inspired by Panther, inspired by the science fiction, inspired by Shuri's character, by the suit, by Panther himself, and that has somehow increased people's interest in science and studying that field. So that to me is an amazing thing. But it's so many different things that I could name like 30 things off the top of my head.
Oh, sorry. Hey, Chadwick, Danielle from Essence. Do you feel as though you are...
Y'all don't need those mics.
Right?
I can't hear you. When you had a mic, yeah, it's too much.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you feel as though you are living in your purpose? And if not, how do you tap back into that if you lost your way?
Oh, God, you want me to preach a sermon? I feel I feel like I'm living in my purpose. But the funny thing about purpose is that it unfolds more and more to you every day. So you could be living in what was revealed to you at a particular time, and then you might get stagnated because there's more that you're supposed to do. It doesn't just stop as you do one thing. So I think it's just being open to what you're supposed to do at this moment and not getting stuck in the past, because purpose is not related to career. Purpose is not related to a job. It's related to what God put inside you that you're supposed to give to the world. And you can do that in various different positions and forms. So I think it's staying open to what that essence is at all times. All right, that's 3 questions. You almost made me preach a sermon.